Hello, my radiant, magnificent Leo souls, and welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom. I want you to gather your brilliant energy close because what we are about to discuss today is a cosmic event unfolding within the very fabric of your life. It is a powerful, undeniable shift in the celestial winds, a turning of the tides that you, with your heart of gold, have been sensing for quite some time. It's not a loud, dramatic explosion, but rather a profound inner dawning. A moment when the sun inside of you, which perhaps has felt dimmed or misunderstood, begins to reclaim its rightful place in the sky of your reality. Can you feel that? That quiet inner roar of truth, getting louder, that feeling of your own light becoming undeniable. Before we dive into the heart of this message, I want to ask you something. Has there ever been someone in your life who tried to put out your fire? Someone who saw your magnificent light and tried to convince you it was too bright? If a name, a face, or a memory just flashed in your mind, I want you to go down to the comments right now and simply type, "My light is my own." Let this be more than just a comment. Let it be a declaration to the universe, an affirmation that you are ready to stand in the full glorious power of your own radiance. Let's create a cascade of light together. Now let's talk about this person. Someone at some point dismissed your brilliant spirit. They looked at your natural sun-given warmth, and they labeled it a performance. They saw your innate confidence, the very essence of your being, and they twisted it, calling it arrogance. They took your grand, beautiful visions for life visions that are your birthright as a child of the sun. And they tried to shrink them, calling them unrealistic or self-serving. They tried to douse your flame with the cold water of their own doubt. And for a while, perhaps, you dimmed your own light to make them comfortable. Perhaps you quieted your roar to a whisper so as not to intimidate them. You, with your incredibly generous heart, may have even tried to understand their perspective, to see the world through their limited, shadowy lens. You observed, you endured, and you did what a noble Leo does. When wounded, you retreated not to surrender, but to understand the nature of your own fire. But now, my beautiful friend, the energy is turning. The cosmos itself is orchestrating a grand reversal. And what is so divinely perfect about this moment is that it's not happening because you roared for justice or demanded the spotlight be turned back on you. No, you have evolved so far beyond that. It's happening for one simple, breathtakingly powerful reason: you finally stopped needing their applause. You withdrew your energy from their stage, you stopped performing for their validation, and in doing so, you reclaimed your sacred sovereignty. By choosing to shine for your own sake, by deciding that your inner light was its own reason for being, you have positioned yourself exactly where the universe needs you to be. You have become a living, breathing sunbeam, a radiant mirror of pure, unshakable light that they simply cannot look away from. Your very presence, your joy, your success, it is now a living testament to the brilliance they tried so desperately to deny. Everything they thought they understood about you is about to dissolve in the face of your radiant truth. And the most powerful part, it will not happen through a grand speech or a fiery confrontation. It will happen through your aura, your calm, centered, and brilliantly luminous energy. As they begin to witness the person you have truly become, not the tamed, apologetic version they tried to create, the immense weight of their past judgments, their belittling words, their dismissive actions will begin to land upon their own conscience. First softly, like a warm ray of light, and then with the full revealing heat of the midday sun. But listen to my heart on this, dear Leo. This isn't about revenge. It never was. That is the magnificent evolution you have undergone. You have outgrown the need to make them see your light. You have stepped into a sacred space where your own warmth, your own success, your own joy speaks for itself with an authority that needs no defense. And because your noble heart carries no bitterness, because you have no hunger to burn them with your fire, you have become the perfect golden vessel for divine karma to express itself. And this karma is not a punishing force. It is the karma of illumination. Its purpose is not to destroy, but to reveal. It is not here to punish, but to awaken. And the ultimate truth, my magnificent Leo, is that this person will learn more from the quiet, undeniable spectacle of your inner sun than they ever did from trying to keep you in their shadow. This moment unfolding for you is sacred. It is a quiet coronation, not a final battle. The world, and this person in particular, is beginning to see what your heart of hearts has always known. That you were never the person they tried to make you. You were always a star. And as this beautiful, undeniable truth illuminates the world around you, you will realize the most profound victory of all. It was never about winning their approval. It was always about you coming home to the throne of your own heart. Now, let's go deeper into this cosmic shift, shall we? It's so important to understand the chasm between the small role they cast for you and the grand leading role you were always born to play. They never truly saw you, my dear Leo, not for the radiant being you are. They held on to a distorted reflection of you, one shaped by their own insecurities and fears. They judged you based on moments when you were still learning how to manage the sheer power of your own light, when your roar was perhaps still the cry of a cub, not the majestic call of a king or queen. They couldn't imagine you evolving beyond the limited narrative they had created for you, a narrative that conveniently kept you at a level they could feel superior to. They had no concept of who you were becoming behind the scenes. They didn't see the moments you spent alone healing your own wounded pride, learning that your worth wasn't measured by external validation, but by the unwavering generosity and love in your own heart. They couldn't hear the steady, confident rhythm of your own inner drumbeat growing stronger, a rhythm that no longer faltered when the applause died down. They saw only what they wanted to see, someone whose light they could borrow, someone whose stage they could stand on, someone they could define, so they wouldn't have to face their own lack of inner fire. But Leo, you, a child of the sun, were never meant to be defined by a shadow. You were never meant to be understood by those who are afraid of the light. You were always meant to shine, to lead, to warm the world with your presence. And now the gap between the person they tried to contain and the magnificent, expansive sovereign you actually are has become too blindingly bright for them to ignore. This is where the magic happens, not in a clash of egos, but in the graceful unfolding of divine order. The universe has been orchestrating a series of synchronicities, of moments that seem ordinary on the surface, but are anything but. These are the gentle realignments of fate that are now placing you center stage in your own life, in a position where your success, your joy, your creative expression, and your sheer resilience will naturally and effortlessly reflect back to this person everything they refused to acknowledge. You won't need to say a word. Your presence alone, regal, joyful, and whole, will be enough to hold up that brilliant sunlit mirror. And when they look into it, they won't just see you shining. They will be forced to see their own shadow, their own refusal to celebrate the light in others, their own fear of being outshone. This mirror you've become is not made of glass. It is forged from the very light of the sun. It's composed of every moment you chose to be generous when you received none. Every time you kept creating when no one acknowledged your art. Every layer of self-worth you built in private, stoking your own inner flame while they were looking away. And now, Leo, that mirror, stands unshakable, brilliantly reflective, and unmistakably clear. The person they will see in that mirror will not be a faded version of who they once knew. It will be someone refined by experience, someone whose heart was tested and found to be pure gold, someone made absolutely luminous by unshakable self-love. And the true beauty of it all, you didn't become this person to prove a point to them. You became this person because you refused to betray the sun within you. That sacred choice, repeated in 1,000 moments of quiet courage, is what makes you the karmic lesson they must now learn. Not to shame them, but to show them, gently, brightly, and without illusion, the magnificent light they missed when they chose to live in the shade. As we explore this, let's call upon the wisdom of the tarot, because the cards are telling your story with such beautiful, fiery clarity. For you, Leo, I see a magnificent trio: the Strength card, the Six of Wands, and of course the Sun. First, the Strength card. This is the quintessential Leo card in the deck. It depicts a woman calm and serene, gently closing the mouth of a lion. This isn't about brute force or dominance, it's about inner strength, courage, compassion, and mastering your own powerful spirit. This card represents your journey. You learned that true strength isn't about roaring the loudest. It's about the quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from mastering your own heart and spirit. You have tamed the wounded parts of your own ego and turned them into your greatest ally. Next, we have the Six of Wands. This card is pure victory and public recognition. It shows a figure on horseback, wearing a laurel wreath of success, being cheered on by a crowd. This represents the phase you are entering now. After your period of inner work and healing, the world is now beginning to see your success. Your efforts are being acknowledged. This isn't the fleeting applause you once craved. This is the genuine recognition of your true worth and accomplishments. It's a victory parade for your spirit. And finally, my radiant friend, we have the Sun card itself, the most joyful card in the tarot. It is a symbol of absolute success, vitality, clarity, and enlightenment. It represents a time of pure, unadulterated joy of being seen and loved for exactly who you are. This is your ultimate destination. It is the universe affirming that by tending to your own inner light, you have now become a source of warmth and joy for the entire world. You are living in your truth, and everything is illuminated. Can you feel the power of that progression, from inner strength to outer recognition to ultimate radiant joy? It's your story. This is why there is absolutely no need for revenge. Your royal energy no longer resides in the petty squabbles of the court. You have ascended to the throne of your own life. You've outgrown the need to fight for the spotlight with people who can only see by candlelight. Simply by living in alignment with your true solar-powered self, you have become undeniable. The way you walk into a room, the generous warmth you exude, the creative fire in your eyes, the regal confidence in your choices, these are the royal decrees that announce your worth far more powerfully than any argument ever could. The real cosmic justice, dear Leo, was never about making them feel small or dimming their light in return. It was always about you becoming so full of your own light, so complete in your own joy, that their opinion simply lost its power. It couldn't survive in the brilliance of your aura. And you have done it. The magnificent, creative, joyful life you are building now speaks for itself. What once might have required a passionate defense of your character now needs no words. What once might have triggered your wounded pride into a desperate need for validation now simply bounces off your radiant energy field. Why? Because your worth is no longer a trophy to be won from others. It is the very sun at the center of your own solar system. And that, my friend, is the most powerful karmic reversal of all. Not that they finally see your light, but that you so profoundly, so completely no longer need them to. So let them watch. Let them sit in the presence of the radiant success they once called impossible. It was never your job to drag them into the light. It was your soul's sacred journey to become the light itself in the absence of their belief. And that brilliant wholeness, my magnificent Leo, is the final answer. Not as retaliation, but as a glorious revelation. The lesson for them is a simple one, delivered by the universe itself. Do not mistake a lion for a house cat. Do not assume that the person shining before you today is the same one you knew when they were still learning their own strength. And above all, do not try to put the sun in a box, for you will only be left with burned fingers and the darkness of your own making. They will see that what they once dismissed in you, your passion, your flair, your confidence, was never a flaw. It was the signature of your greatness, a signature they weren't equipped to read. But the true golden lesson here, Leo, is the one that belongs to you. It's the lesson that says you have matured beyond the need for an audience. You have surpassed the version of yourself that thought success meant winning the approval of those who booed you. That version of you has taken its final bow. You no longer need to prove anything. You know who you are. You know the power you wield. And you know that real lasting power doesn't come from the roar that silences others, but from the warmth that encourages others to grow in your light. This is the beginning of a truly golden era for you, one where you no longer carry the weight of other people's expectations, one where your worth is not a performance, but a presence. You're not here to audition for a role anymore. You are the writer, the director, and the star of your own magnificent life. You are not here seeking permission to shine. You are the sun. Shining is what you do. And in this new glorious phase, the very things they criticized have become your superpowers. The confidence they called arrogance is now your guiding light. The generosity they called a performance is now the source of your great abundance. And the pain of being unseen has transformed into the power of knowing that you are your own source of light, your own eternal flame. You only ever needed your own belief. So now, Leo, we arrive at this beautiful sun-drenched peak. Not a battlefield, but a victory podium. It's the closing of a chapter you never should have been a part of. And what's so beautiful, so poetic, is that you leave this story not with a vengeful roar, but with a magnanimous, peaceful smile. You leave it with clarity. You leave it having reclaimed every ounce of the brilliant energy they once tried to siphon. You leave as the person you always knew you were becoming. This moment is your gift. It's the realization that you are no longer defined by anyone's shadow. You have grown in the light, endured without the right kind of applause, and evolved beyond every limitation they placed on your name. And now the world will respond to your radiant energy. There will be people who finally get it. There will be those who remember how they underestimated you. There may even be an apology spoken or unspoken. But the greatest gift of all is that you won't be waiting for it to feel whole. Your healing already happened. It happened in the moments you chose to be kind to yourself, to create your art, to share your love, even when it wasn't returned. That inner work made you sovereign. As you step forward, calmer, more regal, more radiantly powerful than ever, carry this truth with you. Your light is enough. Your joy is your answer, and your story is a masterpiece unfolding exactly as it should. Let that be your quiet power. Let that be your dazzling triumph. You have nothing left to prove. You only have more of your magnificent life to live. And the world, whether it's ready or not, will finally have to bask in your glow. This is your moment, Leo. Not to rise out of spite, but to rise in full glorious alignment with the sun that you are. The lesson has been taught by the light itself. The energy has been reversed. And now it's time for you to move on to your next great, magnificent act. What an incredible, empowering truth. I can feel the resonance of this for so many of you noble lions. If this message has stirred your heart and spoken to your soul, I would be so honored if you would share your journey in the comments below. Let's create a pride of support, celebrating each other's light. Your story of reclaiming your shine could be the very thing that helps another Leo find their way back to their own inner sun. And of course, if you haven't yet joined our Cosmic Wisdom family, please press that subscribe button. We are dedicated to exploring these deep, transformative truths together, and we have so much more light to uncover in the weeks to come. Thank you for your magnificent presence today. Thank you for being you. Remember your worth, remember your power, and never ever let anyone dim your light. The best is truly yet to come.